Hi, fifth graders. Here is a quick rundown of what we did today at school. The first thing we did was Mr. Larson drew for bike ticket winners. And let's see, the big bike went to Ellie Martin, and the hoverboard went to Molly Nelson. And I can't remember who got the little bike. And so that took a while this morning getting the meeting set up and getting all the classrooms online for that. So our day was pretty short as far as work is concerned. Need to make sure today that you take your spelling test. Remember, today's a freebie because we're learning how to take it on Spelling City. So please click the red Test Me button, I think is what it shows up as, and you just take your test with your list next to you to help you out. You didn't get a whole week with your list, and it was the first week of school, so I thought just use your list to help you. You should get 100%. And a parent can either dojo me your percentage or you can email me your percentage. I trust you. The next thing we did was a read aloud, and I will be doing that online here in a moment. And we did a close read talking about author's purpose of the short story. And so you will need page 22 pulled up in your text. It's this page. And then last but not least, I assigned a short vowels practice. We are still making sure that we know which vowels are short and which vowels, or making sure that we can hear the short vowel sounds. And so I'll just tell you about this since I have it pulled up in front of me. The top box gives the short A, short E, short I, short O, and short U. And I think I can change the screen. Slowly learning how to do this. There we go. And then in this column right here, you can see that they've listed a couple words that have those vowel sounds. So it should help you when you go to answer number 1. You're going to use a short U sound word. So it says the blank city was filled with people, cars, and noise. So I'm going up to my short U words and I go over. So I'm either going to write subsequent or bustling on the line. And that is how you do this assignment. It is due on Monday. As far as other assignments that are due, you should have another short vowel assignment that you've turned in. You should have a vocabulary assignment that you've turned in. Page 33 of your My Book should be turned in, and you can either turn that in online or you can write it in your book. Just want to make sure I have the right page. Yep, looks like this. I need to see that when you come back on Monday, those of you who are coming back, or your parent can take a picture and email it to me, or you can turn it in online. Speaking of turning in online, I can get my screen to go back. There we go. When you log in, all of your assignments are located on our reading curriculum site. I've had a parent question assignments on Google Classroom. And if you go to Google Classroom, you will see that it's either a document or a video telling you about your assignment, but I do not recreate an assignment online or on Google Docs. On Google Classroom. Just to have an assignment on here, all of our work is located in our reading curriculum website. So yours doesn't look exactly the same as mine. You have a Discover button and you also have an assignment button. So if you look on those assignments there, you should be caught up with what you need to be doing and following along in the videos too, or the documents I post. So that should pretty much take care of what is due. Take your spelling test, do a short vowels assignment, and that short vowels assignment, if you need to find the worksheet, I had posted on the 26th that if you need a handout, they are all located here. So if you click that, there's the first assignment, short vowels. There's the second one, was critical vocabulary. And then this one is the one I'm assigning today, short vowels. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to do my read aloud. As I'm reading, I will stop and ask questions. You can, I guess it'll be kind of like you just push stop on the recording and try to answer the question. I think I lost my place. Just a second. Oh, that's weird. There it is. Sorry about that. So today I'm going to read you a nonfiction selection about Elijah McCoy. He was, let's see, this topic is about railroads and specific facts about Elijah McCoy's inventions. Trying to think where else it says. Elijah McCoy had inventions that were in the field of engineering. And I'm also going to read a section that talks about train talk and how railroad terminology has led to new expressions in the English language. A high-quality inventor. Elijah McCoy was the son of slaves who had escaped to Canada on the Underground Railroad. He was born in Canada in 1844, but when he was 5 years old, his family returned to the United States, settled in Michigan, and became U.S. citizens. Not much is known about Elijah's childhood except that he was a curious youngster. He loved taking things apart, figuring out how they worked, and putting them back together. His parents were impressed with their son's skills and thinking ability. They saved money to send him to an engineering school in Scotland when he was 15 years old. After several years of study and training, he returned to Michigan as a master mechanic and engineer. When he couldn't find a job as an engineer, he worked on a train as a fireman and oilman. The job changed his life. One of his tasks was to oil the train's parts, such as the engine and axles and bearings. Every several miles, the train was stopped, and the oilman jumped out to apply oil by hand to keep the train running smoothly. Your first question: how did the job of being a fireman and an oilman on a train change Elijah McCoy's life? One answer you might have said is it helped him discover a problem that needed solving. He wanted to discover a way to apply oil while keeping the train running. Elijah thought that there must be a way to apply oil without stopping the train. In 1872, he invented and patented a lubricating cup, which allowed oil to drip automatically on the places where it was needed. The device became successful because it made train travel more efficient. Why was Elijah's invention successful? You probably said because it made train travel more efficient. They didn't have to stop every few miles to oil the train. Moving on. Other men tried to duplicate Elijah's invention, but their designs were not as good. His invention was so superior that train car manufacturers began to insist on the real McCoy. Elijah McCoy's name became synonymous with having the real thing. What did Elijah's name come to mean? You probably thought the real McCoy became known as the real thing, not a duplicate. Elijah's youthful tinkering led to 57 patents in his lifetime, many dealing with improvements on his lubricating cup. This next part is called train talk. Have you ever felt like you are running out of steam or found yourself sidetracked? If you have, then you have been using train-inspired language. The first transcontinental railroad and other railroads that followed not only connected the nation but also helped invent a new way of talking. Some of the new words described railroad machinery, such as fish plates, which are metal couplers that join the rails, and cow catchers, the pointy grills attached to the front of locomotives that helped push obstacles off the track. Railroad workers also used colorful slang to describe their jobs. They worried about spilling the diamonds, which was not shoveling coal carefully, or being made to dance the carpet, which was getting called in front of a railroad official to be disciplined. What is train-inspired language? You might have said train-inspired language is phrases related to the railroad that became part of everyday language. Over time, railroad terminology made its way into everyday usage. You know how trains travel along different rail lines and sometimes have to move from one track to another. The words used to refer to the shifting of trains inspired parallels to describe the way people move through life. So, stay on track became used to describe a person who remains focused and consistent. Get off track is used to refer to a person who gets distracted. Get sidetracked describes someone who gets diverted from a main purpose or issue. A person who gets derailed is brought to a sudden halt. A person who is off the rails and acting as if he or she has no sense of reality is like a train that has jumped the rails and can no longer be controlled. What does stay on track mean? You probably said to stay focused and consistent. Phrases describing railroad situations became popular too. A distracted person is asleep at the switch, referring to how train workers who operated switches had to remain alert in order to safely move trains from one track to another. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel was a literal expression used by train crews. People use it today to describe the moment when a possible solution to a problem comes into focus. And I'm going to stop the read aloud there. So you had a chance to answer some questions using your listening skills there. Get that out there. And the next thing that we have to do is to talk about author's purpose and with our close read. And so I know you've heard about author's purpose before. You've probably heard it called PI because of the P, I, and E. P stands for persuading, I for informing, and E for entertaining. So every time an author writes something, they're trying to do one of these three things. If they're persuading, they want you to think a certain way. If they're informing, they're sharing information about a topic. And if they are entertaining, they just want to have their reader enjoy the story. So looking at the text, The Inventor's Secret, page 22, I would like you to reread this page, starting with Henry was born 16 years and ending with fire. And your mission is to figure out what kinds of phrases or words the author used to entertain us. In this text, we are getting some information, but the author is also trying to entertain the reader. So look through this piece, and your job is to email me any words or phrases that you think the author specifically chose to entertain the reader. And that is all you have for today. Until we meet again.